Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Champion Connections. I'm your host, Chris Coleman. Now, my guest today, Lauryn Ballesteros, is a sales and marketing expert, as well as a blogger and a cultural entrepreneur. What does that mean? She's pretty much very authentic and giving you the information, how she runs her businesses, and how she goes about her life. Today, we talk about how she started as a marketing and sales expert with no experience working with the great Seth Godin. This is one you really don't want to miss. So, enjoy.
What's up? My name is Lauryn Ballesteros, and I'm a blogger and sales and marketing expert. Probably my claim to fame is I worked as VP of Strategic Partnerships for two of Seth Godin's companies by the time I was 25. And I had closed six-figure deals in that process, or during that time, really with no sales experience. We launched 12 bestsellers in 12 months. And I now run a blog over at laurynballesteros.com, and I teach entrepreneurs and people who want to stand for something in their life and in the world how to sell and market themselves and be proud of what they do.
So I guess we can kind of start with, you had no experience.
Yeah.
What made you, I guess, go and jump into this field that you had no knowledge of, no experience in, and how did you do everything that you just said?
So, well, that's like, I guess we'll break it down a little bit, right? Just because it was a lot. So how did I jump into sales and marketing? I didn't study that in school. I thought I was going to be a diplomat. Like, on all those tests you take as a kid, I was so convinced I was going to be a lawyer. Like, you know, the ones that try to like place you, like, you'd be really good at being whatever. I was so convinced I was going to be like a lawyer, a president, or something like with international relations, that I used to purposely answer the questions to get, like I would analyze the questions just so that I could get the lawyer outcome. It was really kind of stupid. Point being, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't think I'd be a very good lawyer. And I went to school graduating with international relations, and I'm fluent in Spanish, and I speak Italian too, and so I'm like, I'm going to totally do this. So I went and worked at the American Embassy in Rome, Italy, for 6 months. And that's a whole other story unto itself. Like, I didn't even have a security clearance yet. Like, I just showed up. I was like, screw it. Like, I'm making this work. That's a different story. But at the end of it, I just didn't like it. Like, it was 6 months. I'm like, WTF. I'm not a bureaucrat. State Department's just not what I'm looking to do. And people thought I was kind of crazy. Like, you know, Rome is literally one of the spots in the State Department that everyone seeks. Like, all the diplomats and all the sort of foreign service people, they all want to go to Rome. And then my embassy was the most sought after embassy in Rome. So the fact that I went there and I didn't want to do it to people was kind of like, really? Like, you're sticking your nose in, like, how dare you not want to do this? I was like, whatever, I don't want to do it. So I left that, I came home, and this was in 2008, 2009, when there were no jobs. I lived in Buffalo, New York. There were even fewer jobs. I was making $15 an hour at Bank of America doing loan modifications. And I just jumped into real estate. You know, there was a Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Free course. Yeah, Rich Dad, Poor Dad course. I went to it, and I got into that. And then 2 years later, for 2 years, I was doing real estate. And, I mean, marketing and sales made sense. I think I was always good at sales. I used to convince my sisters, like, when I was 5 or 6, I would be like, there's dance classes. Come pay $1. I'll teach you how to dance. And they'd go and get money from my parents and pay me. So I think I was, like, naturally good at sales from a young age. And marketing is just creative. And so I always said I didn't want a boss. And I just fell into it. And then, you know, the part about working with Seth was I just had this gut feeling. I was like, I need to move to New York. So I moved to New York with $2,000 in my bank account, a lot of credit card debt for my first business. And I didn't have much of a choice but to hustle at that point. And I was just following my interests. At that point, I knew a little bit about WordPress. I knew a little bit about media. And I just pitched people. I pitched Ramit Sethi from I Will Teach You to Be Rich, Tim Ferriss, and eventually Seth Godin. And Seth, out of the three of them, said yes. And ironically enough, a lot of the people that I pitched in the past few years, I've ended up working with, or know now, or have some sort of relationship with. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to get into more specifics, but it was a ride. There's a lot of details in that like lead up to where I'm at. But it was a lot of pitching and a lot of pitching.
I guess if I'm thinking from an audience perspective, how did you even get in front of these three gentlemen? Or was it via email or what?
So it's just about looking for opportunities. Like a lot of people see opportunities. Like, have you ever tried to make a left-hand turn, like to drive?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know that moment when like there's a gap and you can make the left-hand turn, but you second guess it and now you can't make the left and now you have to wait 10 more minutes because there's no other gap.
Yeah.
Just because you're like, I don't know if I should turn. It's the same thing in the New York City, subway system. I do not hesitate. Like if I see that there's a seat open, all the other people hesitate wondering what everyone else is going to do. I don't hesitate. I don't even look at the other people. I just go and get the seat. So I get a seat 99% of the time because I don't hesitate. And I don't feel bad about not hesitating. Same thing with left-hand turn, although I suck at left-hand turns. But in business, it's the same thing. So you have these opportunities and they show up, whether it be someone posting a need on Twitter. For me, if you follow his work, the best way to work with a writer or any kind of blogger is read their shit. Like they're going to tell you what they need. They're going to complain about their problems in one way or the other. And Ramit, at various points, like said types of things that he was looking for. And at that point, I was studying copywriting. I'm telling you, I was pitching. I was building websites for people. And if you knew how much I suck at building websites, you would realize how funny that is. But email was really like my main thing. Tim Ferriss had posted a contest at one point. I did that. And again, both of them were on their blogs. And Seth had pitched his he was looking for apprentices for this project via email. So the first thing is, if people complain about a problem, if you're an entrepreneur or a freelancer or you just want to get in front of someone, be willing to find a solution for that problem. You may not be the solution, but you may know someone that's the solution. You want to make it easy for them. And then the second thing is, be willing to reach out to them. I can't tell you how many people email me asking me, dude, can you do like this recommendation for Seth? Seth is notorious for answering every single one of his emails, like 99% of them. So if you write to Seth, he'll probably write you back. And most people are just afraid to even try. And then they write these long emails that try to explain everything, and they look kind of like crazy and like they're 10 pages and it's just weird. But point is, when you see the opportunity like the left-hand turn, don't hesitate. He who hesitates, however that saying goes. And then, easiest access. Like if it's email, if it's phone, most people are afraid to reach out. And if you even consider it, you are ahead of 99% of the population because everyone else is still thinking about it, and you just got to see it on the subway, my friend.
For sure. I always find it like kind of weird if you just break it down. It's like this person is at the end of the day a human being. They just happen to be a little more successful than I am. That's how I look at it.
And the thing is, at some things, like when you get to know people, like they're like people that know me really well will say like, you're really like, there's certain things that like I know I'm really good at. But the other things that I suck at, and you'll notice that about people who like start to like that are successful, like the things they suck at, they know they suck at, and they don't try to compensate for it. So it's like, they're successful maybe in things that I guess the point is that we're all human, and there's all things that we just are like, I don't like doing womanly chores, like what is typically classified of a woman. Like traditionally I'm a bad woman because like I suck at all the womanly things. Like I don't like cooking. So we all have our stuff.
For sure.
We're all human.
All right, well, let's get into the meat. You got to work with Seth Godin. The 6 figures, no sales experience. If you can give the audience a brief synopsis of what you learned and how you did it, that would be awesome.
So the not so secret, I wish that there was like some like really crazy strategy, like, oh my God, like people love strategy. Strategy makes people feel safe. If you tell someone you have a plan, even if it's like the shittiest plan in the world, people will feel safer because they're like, oh, she thought this out, even if it's horrible.
Sounds like a Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah. So honestly, like I made it up. Like if I had to break it down. So when I went into, here's the thing too, to give some context. When I went into the Domino Project, I felt like the total underdog. Like I looked at everyone around me. I'm like, they are so smart. I'm this like weirdo kid from Buffalo. Everyone has like 20,000 Twitter followers. They have this cool blog. My blog was kind of about real estate. Like Like I was a person that's like, yeah, like I flip houses, and that's not that cool in digital media in New York City. So I felt like I had something to prove from day one, and I felt like I should know all the answers. Like because I was hired to be part of this team, it was surely a fake it till you make it. So I just, if I had a question about something, I spent as much time as possible finding the answer. Um, if I didn't know how to do something, I either asked somebody that maybe I thought knew how to do it, or I just went and tried. Seth was a really good mentor, but honestly, like the main secret of how I did it is it's threefold. It's one, I was working with somebody who believed in me. Seth gave me a ton of the second he saw that I closed some, like the first deal was like 150K. When he saw that, he was like, "Oh shit, like this, okay." And he gave me a lot of freedom to do, what I wanted. So the first thing is working with people who are willing to believe in you, give you the resources you need to go and do something. That may mean a business partner, that could mean a mentor, that could mean yourself, but you need someone that says, "You can do it, I believe in you, and I'm going to give you the space to do that."
For sure.
I had that. I had a platform. Second thing was I had something to sell. You don't need a publishing company. You don't need a big name, but you need something that shows value. People find value in saving time, in saving money, in things being easier, and really down to trust. Like, can I trust that whatever you say you're going to do is going to solve my problem, and that I don't have to handhold and make sure that you do it right? So you need something that's solving a real problem. You have to ask yourself, if you're selling it, do you believe in it? And if you are selling yourself, asking yourself how you solve people's problems. The third thing is you just have to be willing to get up in front of people. When I tell you that I was calling like the founder of Dropbox, I was seriously calling everyone and their mom. I had no idea really what I was like trying to put together, but I was like, dude, we have smart people. We're working with Amazon. We have insane distribution. We're doing something no one else has done. What do you need? Let's put this together. I want to work with you. Like, I can give you what you need in marketing. I just need to know what you want.
Sure.
The thing is, because they trusted me, and they trusted names like Amazon, and the Seth name obviously helps. It works. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many, because I worked for Squidoo later on, still working with Seth. The name might get you in the door or help you, but it doesn't close the deal. So you just have to be willing to call someone up or sit down with them and say, like, I want to help you. What do you need? Let's figure it out. And if they trust you, they'll tell you. That is the secret. And I did that a lot until I found something that someone needed that they were willing to pay for and that I could replicate a few different times. And that's how we came to the Dama Project. That's how we got the sponsorships. Seth set up the mold. I refined it, and I just sold it like crazy. Is that clear enough? Like,
Yeah,
does that give people?
I don't think it can get any clearer than that.
I don't know.
All right, so I mean,
Cool.
I've read your blog as well as some of the guest posts that you've been featured on, and one of your main things is like always thinking outside the box or always doing the opposite of what common sense says. Can you talk about how you've been able to not only utilize that for building other people's projects, but for things that you work on for yourself?
Yeah. So doing the opposite is like the whole point in marketing is to stand out, right? And but a lot of the times we're so afraid of failing that we say, well, we just want to be like everybody else. Like, we want it to look like everyone else. That feels safe. We don't want to be like, we don't want to be the weirdo amidst all the other successful people. So we're just going to be safe, and we don't want, you never want to like cause too many ripples. The thing is that the more ripples you're willing to cause, the more of a tsunami you can make, and a tsunami in a positive sense. Like, you ultimately want a big wave, right?
Yeah.
How different things that I've done differently. So like when I applied for, and these are actually things I have links to, like when at the Domino Project, all they required was to fill out an application. But I made a short movie, like I made a spoof. Like, remember Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Yep.
Do you remember that show?
Oh, I saw that video that you did.
Yeah. And it was, like, I was just harassing people on the street. It was Where in the World is Seth Godin, as if, like, we were on some, like, international chase for Seth Godin and the Purple Cow. Mind you, at this point, I had never read a single one of his books. So I was just making this up. So I did a video, I created an entire like I contacted every single one of the students he worked with in the past to build a relationship with them. Ask them like, dude, what do you think? Like what's the best way to like get on his radar? From that, people like me so much. They're like, dude, even if you don't get a job with Seth, we want to hire you, which was awesome. I built a Facebook page, had people leave me testimonials, all my friends, like why I was worth working with. And I put that all on a blog post, and he ended up writing back to me. He left me a comment. If you go to that post, you'll see the comment that he left. And I was crying. I was like, oh my God, like this man has thousands of applications, and he wrote on my blog. Like that has to be a good sign. I ended up looking to work with Indiegogo, which is like the #1 competitor to Kickstarter. And I know Slava and Danae, the founders, co-founders of Indiegogo. And the way that worked was I put an event together around biz dev in 4 weeks in New York City. I just called everyone I knew, even people I didn't know. And Slava ended up going, the founder of this big company. And a year later, I sent him a bunch of different pitches. Again, something similar, like made it cool landing pages, videos, all that different stuff, giving him cool ideas. And I ended up meeting Danae and the whole group in San Francisco, and we got pretty far with them, decided that it wasn't a fit, but I mean, that's a year later and, 10 meetings into the group. So I think the key to doing something different is asking yourself, what do you really want to do? Because I think a lot of the times what we actually want to do is different naturally. We don't have to contemplate standing out. We stand out if we're just ourselves. So like, do you need to be a marketing genius? No. Do you need to maybe have an eye for design? Make it look like it's quality. Is it clean? Is it crisp? Yes. Anything after that's subjective because you're the artist. So be yourself. That's the easiest, most bootstrapping, cheapest way to stand out.
All right.
Literally.
So with being yourself, sometimes society doesn't like that. And when society doesn't like things, you quote unquote fail. So can you talk about an experience that you had where you failed and it was like this moment like, oh my God, I failed, but I learned something and now I'm going to take it to the next level?
Mm-hmm. So I just want to say 2 things about the society thing. The first thing is like, I guess I was going to say screw society. Like, I would ask people, who is society? Like, who's saying that you're failing? A lot of the times it's our own perception of why it is that we think that we're failing, and it's actually not necessarily everyone else that thinks that. The second piece is this is actually the second out of 3 points. I'm like thinking in my head. The second piece is the other people are just better marketers than you right now. Like, all the different things that we have in place, like Steve Jobs was known for saying, like, all the rules in the world are just put in place from people who are just as smart as you. That's called marketing. You share your ideas, you get people to adopt them, and then they adopt them as being true. So when you have a true statement, something you believe in, you just have to go and promote it. And over time, it sticks, and people believe what you're saying. In the beginning, do they believe it? Maybe not. People are always skeptics. They always have a knee-jerk reaction. Very rarely do you meet people who are like, oh my God, this is awesome. People have their own fears. And the third thing is, if you do have a bunch of people who say you're a total idiot, ignore 99% of them. The people that you trust, keep like a tight circle of people you truly, like if you were blind, you would trust them to walk you through New York City safely. You would trust them to run your daily affairs for a day. Those are the people you listen to. Don't listen to anyone else, because there are plenty of haters and they're sipping a different Kool-Aid, and that's cool, but you're not sipping the same one. That's fine. So an example of society where the question is an example of society where where people didn't like what I was doing and I did it anyway.
Yeah. Or like some type of like, maybe to you failed, or like to society standards you failed, and it's like, I'll take this lesson and I'll make it even better.
So,
or it could be an obstacle, pitfall that you run into. Either one. Some type of adversity.
All right, so I'm going to get real spiritual on you. When you pitch a lot of people, you're going to have a lot of people that tell you, I probably had thousands upon thousands of no's. Before I worked with Seth, so I was right before I worked with Seth, I was almost dead broke. I was paying $900 in credit card debt every month, like a monthly payment, because I
Holy
had
crap.
15K from my first business. I purchased my first business as a student. I was like, yeah, I just spend a lot of money, learn a lot, and then if I work hard enough, money comes. That's really not the equation for making money in business, but that's what I thought. So I was making very little money, not living very well, and I got laid off. And then a month before I was working with Seth, before I even was accepted, I was pitching all these different people to try to get jobs. I was on Craigslist pitching, marketing, all that stuff. And a woman had an hour call with me, and she basically, remember her yelling at me because I was taking notes, typing, and talking to her on Skype. And she heard the typing, and she was like, "You should tell someone if you're taking notes. You should always inform them." I think it's kind of common sense in a meeting to take notes, but she ended up sending me a bit of a pity check, $50. I didn't get her business, and she didn't end up working with me, but I think she felt bad about using my time, and she's like, "I think you're a nice kid." She sent me money, um, and she sent me the $50. So like between that time and now, and even when I was a younger kid, like if you pitch a lot of things, you have a lot of no's, and like I guess the spiritual part or the inner part is conflict is with yourself. Like sometimes you're just tired of being different. I think that the adversity, the biggest adversity, isn't it doesn't come from what other people think. It comes from me tiring of myself. Like sometimes I wish that I could just be just like everyone else. And I don't say that as some vain, like, oh, I'm so cool and I'm so different and my head shaved. Oh, I'm such a hipster. I say it because, like, for example, I have a friend. She's this gorgeous blonde. She has huge boobs. Everyone that looks at her is like, ugh, I just want to like have children with her. Like they just want to sleep with her, and they don't even have to speak to her. That's just sort of like she's this beautiful woman, and she's like, I get it. Like I'm a symbol to them, and she tires of it because she just wants people to have a normal conversation. So I get that I represent authenticity and edginess and all this other stuff. The adversity is being okay with it. The adversity is saying like 98% of the time I don't want what most people want. Like 98% of the time I think that what people say doesn't always make sense. And the irony is like I get tired of expressing why I think that, but people expect me to disagree. So like even when I want to be quiet, people are like, "Well, what's your opinion of this?" And so while I'm flattered that people value my opinion, the adversity comes from learning when to just be quiet and go into the quiet and really like regain my energy, because I spend a lot of time teaching. And then the second piece is just accepting yourself. Like, maybe like most people think I'm an extrovert. I'm an introvert. And how I get my energy, like I spend a lot of time alone just so that I have the energy and the focus to do stuff like this. So loving yourself where you're at, like you don't need to look like me or be like me to be authentic. Um, Whatever you are is perfect. And it's just being okay with that and embracing that. So that's probably been the biggest adversity. I've had plenty of people tell me that it's what I think is, stupid in high school, the whole mean girl thing. I've done all that. But like the biggest obstacle, because none of that stopped me, but the biggest obstacle has probably been fear and just, sometimes just wanting to be like everyone else. Like, why can't I just go and have a 9 to 5? Like, why do I need to do everything like opposite? But it's just the way I was born. I don't know.
I
So,
feel you on that one. I sometimes question myself as well. So
mhm.
it's good to know I'm not the only one out there that thinks this way.
Yeah, no, you're definitely not the only one.
All right. So speaking of building and helping others achieve success, you recently started your own project. So
Yep.
let us know what it is you're doing, where you are, and what's happening.
Yeah, so a few months ago, I met, no, about a year ago, I met a good friend, Sophie Solomon, and she's super kick-ass in sales. She does 7 figures in sales every year in
Holy.
real estate, and she does it part-time. So, and it's not kind of like one of those, oh, like, like headlines, like, oh, learn how to do $1 million in part-time. Like, she legitimately closed in 7 figures, and she has 2 kids, and she travels, and she's working part-time. So, we realize that a lot of people struggle in business, they struggle with selling, they struggle with promoting themselves. And more than anything, business feels really hard for people. Like you have to do 20 cold calls. It can feel lonely and just just hard, like miserable, like almost this belief. Have you ever seen that quote? You'll live for 3 years the way most won't, so that you can live the rest of your life like most never will.
Yeah.
That quote.
Yeah.
I don't really agree with that just because it's like, why do I need to live like shit for 3 years? Why can't I live well enough? Yes, you make some sacrifices. So this whole thing that we're doing, it's called S&M for sales and marketing. And it's a course, online course, and international community that supports you and helps you take action around selling yourself, promoting your work, and really just making more money in your business. I think the key difference is too that no one's teaching it the way we're teaching this stuff. It's totally untraditional. We're offering it at a super affordable rate this first time around. It's going to be doubled next year. So we just want to see people do it. Like, people have enough information, but they're not taking enough action. And when they go to take action, they don't always take the right action. So we break it down, keep it simple, stupid. We focus on a lot of fun things. And we do these things daily in our businesses. And this is sort of the secret sauce of how we're able to do it and how we're able to travel and, all the stuff that people say that they want. This is how we do it. So we're going to show you guys.
So when
That's what we're up to.
when is it being released? How can people sign up for a notification or sign up for the course?
So you'll want to go to, it's going to be October, I don't know if I should say it. It's going to be October 1st that you'll be able to actually learn about the course and all the inner workings and take like and go inside and check it all out. Leading up to it, it's at smlaunch.com. So smlaunch.com. And we're doing a free training series about how to promote yourself, how to charge what you're worth. You go to the site, if you sign up, you're going to get a free tutorial for 3 awesome videos. They're actually kind of funny. And you'll see them on the site too. So we hope that you'll check it out. We think it is super valuable. And yeah, man. And if it works for you, maybe we'll see you in class. That'd be awesome.
I mean, it sounds like I think I'm a sign up. Matter of fact, I know I'm a sign up.
Dude, that would be incredible. It'd be really good. It's gonna be fun. We did a beta test and I was surprised with how much they loved it. So it was validation that we're doing something right. We're doing a few things right. So yeah, man, check out the site, check out the free videos, and at the very least, you will have a new perspective on how to approach your business. So
I like the sounds of that. All right, so 2 last questions, then you're off the hot seat.
Shoot.
What purpose does your business serve when you're making any type of business? What are you looking to do at the end of the day?
For me, or do I think people in general?
For you, like personally.
For me, I think I'm probably looking to change the way people think. So I just think that a lot of us, I don't know, we lie to ourselves. I mean, I'm delusional at times. I think we all it's hard to see the forest for the trees. So my business is very much so focused around truth as I see it. Like, I'm not, like saying how it is. And I mean, it doesn't mean that people don't see it differently, but just speaking my truth and helping others identify theirs. So everything I do is kind of related to that. If it feels fake or it feels contrived or it feels forced, I probably won't, I won't do it. So truth and freedom are probably the 2 things that drive my business.
Cool. Sounds like the second line of a Patriot song.
Right? It's not that you're right. It's lighthearted, right? Like not anything that intense. Truth and freedom drive my business.
Sounds like you got an album coming out too. Well,
something. Well, we're gonna work on it.
All right. If you ever need production work, just let me know. Got an ear for music.
Good. I might.
All right.
Keep you guys up to date.
The last one. If you had one piece of advice for someone looking to go after their dreams, passions, whether they're young, old, have already been in business, have failed, have whatever, what would that be?
They're going after their business, huh?
After their passion or goals, dreams.
My one piece of advice would be that you're worth it. And I don't say that as a cliche, like, you can do it, si se puede. Like, no, it's that just because you're alive and you're human, like that is your birthright. Like you are worth it. And I think for a lot of us, we have this fear of like, who are we, right? And it's like this sort of thing, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, I can only be great once I'm great. But the thing is, greatness, whatever it is we're trying to achieve, like even PR, people are like, how do people get press? Well, they're pitching themselves. They're pitching these stories, right? So you're worth it and you can do it. And no one has the perfect roadmap. And your gut is your best guide. So follow it and be willing to take yourself a little bit less seriously. I have to follow that advice a lot. Like, I've started a lot of businesses that have made me different amounts of money. And, I'm starting to come into the swing and stride of what I want to do. And that's okay. So you're worth it. And there's no better time but now. And it doesn't get any easier the more you wait. You think, I'm just going to wait. Doesn't get any easier. Just start. Sell something. Sell one person, one thing, even if it's gum. Get in the habit of telling people how you can help them. And then it'll grow from there. So that'd be my advice.
That is a golden nugget for all aspects of life.
Right? Well, there you go.
All right. Well, Lauren,
awesome.
It was awesome. Let everyone know where they can find you on the interwebs.
You can find me at LaurynBallesteros.com. It's long. I mean, it'll be in my, I guess it'll be in my bio, but yeah, I'm on Twitter at HeyLaurenB and at smlaunch.com will be the two best places. The videos are funny. Check them out.
All right, Lauren. Well, you're awesome. You're truly a champion, making connections with people around the world. I thank you for joining me today, and you are officially off the hot seat.
Thank you.
Wow. Wasn't that some really good stuff? I know I took a lot away from it, especially the last thing Lauren said is you're worth it. Man, I don't know how many times I've sat there and doubted myself if I'm doing the right thing, if I should really be trying to go against the grain, because it is easier just doing what everyone tells you, doing what society is doing. But would you be happy at the end of the day? So ladies and gentlemen, if you take anything away from this, you're worth it. If you have an idea, go out and do it. And you don't have to struggle as the people say, as the phrase says, like you don't have to be a starving artist. You can be very successful. If you believe it and you really are willing to work for it, it can happen. So, once again, I thank you for watching the show. You all are awesome. And remember, we're all champions. We just have to make those connections. I'll see you next time.